The new Imperial Guard detachment experience. Own detachment after the balanced data slate. Custodian Guard hitting on 2s. Death Core Creek hitting on 2s, rolling 1.
I tell you what though, folks, that's bloody nice. That is bloody lovely.
Actually... I love it. Oh, yeah. 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 That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Literally anything on an objective. Alright, so now we have the actual Scion detachment, the Bridgehead Strike. When the Astra Militarum launch rapid offensives, their attack routes are typically planned well in advance. Should a crucial bridge, mountain pass, supply depot, or other essential landmark lie along their path, an elite force may be tasked to secure it ahead of the main push. The elite warriors of the Militarum Tempestus or equivalent specialist companies like the Cadian Kazakin most often undertake such missions. Deploying via aircraft, grav chutes, or columns of fast armor transports, the force hits their target zone hard, relying upon firepower and surprise to dislodge enemy defenders. With the site secured, the strike forces must hold their prize against whatever the foe hurls at them until the main strength of the Imperial host reaches their position and relieves them. Nice. That feels really cool. Like, going in, creating a bridge. It feels exactly like what Scions are meant to do. It feels exactly like what Scions are meant to do. They're not meant to survive in long-term, protracted battles. They're meant to go in, take an objective, do a mission, and then wait for the guard to follow them up. Or get the fuck out of there, right? So, very, very, very happy with the fluff behind this. It's only a little bit of fluff, but I like it. Detachment rule. Only the best. Now, yeah, Booker 8991. Bridge too far. It's very bridge too far. It's very bridge too far. Swords and Smith. We are going in with the first wave. Means more bugs for us to kill. You smash the entire air. You carry them more than 2 legs. You get me. We get you, sir. We get you, sir. I love it. I love it. It's very, very on brand. I also love that this is only the best. However, I do feel like they've missed out. There should be a second part to this. It should say, only the best. Screw the rest. Oh, man. Only the best screw. That's the real name of the detachment. Only the best screw the rest. The soldiers who make up such targeted strike forces are handpicked for their excellence and, where possible, provided with rigorous additional training to prepare them for conditions and foes on the ground. Each time an Astra Militarum infantry model from your army makes a ranged attack, reroll a hit roll. Anything, any infantry unit. Scions, Kazakin, infantry squads, Cadians, Kriegers, Catachans, Ratlings, Ogrins. Motherfucking Ogrins. They're infantry. You try telling them they're not. They are. They're infantry. Field orders batteries, as I learned earlier in today's stream. Heavy weapon teams. Command squads. Oh, it all works. It just works. So straight away, you could just take this as you could take this attachment. You could take this attachment, right, And you could absolutely just go, yes, only the best. And if the first best doesn't work, then we'll send in the second best and the third best and the fourth best. Send in the next wave! Send in the next wave! You could literally just send in... This could just be used for pure infantry guard. It could be. It could be. Which is kind of cool that it does have that flexibility. I just love the idea that it just affects Ogryns. Like, bah, 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 bah. We've already got scouts that's 3-1s. That's true, we do, Bucket 8991. But what if you want to go pure infantry? This is now free scout sentinels. You know what I mean? Just free. So I really like that. I really like that. It does, as some people have said, it does kind of clash with what Scions currently have in their as their datasheet rule. So they might end up changing that. I kind of hope they don't, because they have a bit here for specifically for Scions. And I'd say I like the full rerolls that Scions get on objectives. I like that a lot, and it means that Scions can be useful outside of this attachment as well. Unless they play something much better, then whatever. If they play like reroll 1s to wound or 4 rerolls to wound on objective, maybe that would be better. Okay, but then that clashes with the Torx Prime, so we'll have to see. Speaking of the second part of this detachment rule, Fire Zone Purge. Key to this force's mission is the swift purgation of local enemy forces through sudden deployment and focused firefights. As such, whether they hit the ground from a low altitude drop or deploy from armoured transports, the soldiers of this formation are trained to find targets and start shooting the instant the foe is in sight. Each time a Militarum Tempestus, and yes, that does include Aquilans, they are Militarum Tempestus, model from your army makes a ranged attack in a turn in which it was set up on the battlefield from reserves, or it disembarked from a transport, add 1 to the wound roll. That is unbelievably good. I am not kidding you. That is game changing. That is meta changing. That is faction fixing. Because as someone who very recently, I'm talking in the last couple of months, very recently ran pure Scions, the number one problem that I had was that I could only wound people on 5s. Because I had plasma guns and melter guns. That's all I had. And so the problem was that the moment I encountered any army that had even a modicum of armor, my ability to deal with it went through the fucking floor. I couldn't. It would take 30 Scions with first rank fire, second rank fire on the plasma, on shooting an enemy unit on an objective to kill a Chaos Knight. Because wounding on 5s just ain't reliable. Sometimes they just don't come up. It wasn't 1 squad, it was 2 squads. And all I needed was just a little bit more punch. All I needed was the ability to just wound on something that isn't a fucking 5, right? That's all I fucking needed. And now I have that. So I genuinely cannot express how welcome this is. My PTSD has been cured. This right here is worth well more than any amount of commissar mandated fucking trauma therapy that I had to go to after that Chaos Knight, after those 2 Chaos Knight games. Fuck it hell. This cures it all. I'm cured. Turns out I didn't have trauma. It turns out I was just a salty boy. Yeah. Puzzle the Brood is incredible. It is incredible. It's amazing. Yeah. Hotshot Lasguns wounding on 5s is an even bigger buff when you think about it. Yes, it is. Aquila Sentry Gun is going to work wonders with aerial extraction. Not to mention that Hotshot Carbines have twice as many attacks as Hotshot Lasguns, which means firing hot is going to be insane on them. Don't forget, Simone, that your Hotshot Lasguns have just as many shots as your Hotshot Las Carbines in rapid fire range, because they're rapid fire 1. And don't forget that you can first rank fire, second rank fire your Hotshot Lasguns, which you can't do on your Hotshot Las Carbines. So actually, most of the time, your Hotshot Lasguns are going to have the same, if not more shots than the Hotshot Las Carbines, because you'll have 3 shots per Scion gun. So it's not quite... It's still... Firing hot is still almost always going to be better on your Scions, because they can get multiple Hotshot volley guns and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And now you wound all infantry on 2s or 3s, every vehicle on 4s with special weapons or 4 rerolls. Exactly. Exactly, Beanspud. Exactly. So, I mean, the fact that you are going to wound... The fact that you are going to wound Death Shroud Terminators with a -1 to wound on them, still on 3s, is really, really good. Really strong. Really strong. So, yeah, I have to say I do really like this. Now, the big question that comes out of this, and we'll circle back round to this in a moment, but the big question that I really like from this, big question that comes from this, I should say, is to deep strike or to transport. It's actually a really difficult question. Deep strike or to transport. I'm not sure what the best way is, but we'll come back around to that in a moment, because you want to try and do both, but I don't think you can quite do both. I've tried taking like maximum... I think you can take maximum Scions. I think you can, but I don't think then you can quite... I don't think you can quite go 60 Scions, 3 command squads, 30 Aquilans, and 6 Torques primed and still have the points left over that you want. And you want your 3 Primaris Psychers as well. I don't think you can quite get that all in. So there are going to have to be some things you pull back on. But we'll double check the points. But it is going to be a question. What unit, and if you do both, what unit do you... which ones are you deep striking? Which ones are you Torques priming? Because only certain units can go in Torques primes. There's another bit that's important here. If a Militarum Tempesta officer model from your army is your warlord, Tempesta Scion units from your army gain the battle line keyword, and while such unit is not battle shocked, add 1 to the objective control characteristic of that Tempesta Science model in that unit. So yes, that does mean that a single Scion Gigablob can now get up to 60 objective control. That makes it 15 OC, that makes it 25 OC, then you have the flag, which makes it 40 OC, and then you have the order, duty, and honor, which makes it 55 OC. 55 OC from 1 Scion Gigablob. Not quite 60, but it's pretty fucking good. Each one of the Scions being 4 OC is like, oh, I put like 2 guys on this objective, and now I am more OC than you. Amazing. I really, really like this when looking at it through the lens of going very Scion heavy, if not pure Scion. However, it's very important not to lose sight of what you are giving up. You are giving up lethal hits. And lethal hits is unbelievably good. A lot of people do not appreciate or forget or just get used to how good having army-wide lethal hits is all game. Sure, there's a few caveats like tanks, it's only doing it against tanks, and infantry is only doing it against infantry, but it's still really, really like, it's still something that's very important to bear in mind. If you're thinking of taking your normal guard army and maybe going a bit heavier on Scions, I don't think it's worth it. Like, honestly, I almost wouldn't include any tank commanders in this. This attachment would just before we even got into the enhancements, if we went no further, this attachment right here solves all of the problems of running a pure Scion army single-handedly. Just between the extra OC, +1 to wound, and the reroll ones. Because now that feels like your Tempestas are part of the same gang. So, all Scions should have reroll 1s to hit inbuilt. All Tempests have reroll 1s to hit inbuilt, from wherever they're from. So it just fixes everything across the board. From flavor to fluff to power, it fixes it. So next, we want to look at the enhancement. The good news is that pretty much all of these are good. So you have got the Bombast class Vox Array, which is basically a shit name for the old 9th edition relic, the Clarion Proclamatus. So there was an old relic that did something very similar. It used to give you like infinite order range, but it was a Super Vox caster, right? The Super Vox. So, but it used to be called the Clarion Proclamatus because it had such a fancy name. You had to say it in a very fancy way. So it wasn't the Clarion Proclamatus. It wasn't the Bombast class Vox Array. It was the Clarion Proclamatus. So you're going to take this one every single time. This one is amazing. This one's amazing. Militarum Tempestus Officer. Each time the bearer issues an order, if the bearer's unit contains one or more models equipped with a Master Vox, it can issue that order up to 3 different regiment units instead of only 1. So it's very important to understand you can't do 3 different orders. You pick one order, and then you get to issue that one order 3 times. So you can't go take aim, first rank fire, duty and honor. No, it's take aim, take aim, take aim. First rank, first rank, first rank. Okay, that's just the important thing. That's the important thing to understand, the distinction with it. Now, having said that, that is fucking amazing because there's only one order you're ever really going to do, which is first rank fire, second rank fire on your Scions. Because they've all got like 1,000,000 guns with rapid fire. I mean, like, you can take every single man bar the sergeant in that unit with a rapid fire gun. 2 plasma guns, 2 hotshot volley guns, 5 hotshot rifles. And then you've got the command squad. Plasma gun, hotshot volley gun. Probably a man with a flag, although maybe not anymore. And then the Master Vox guy, for sure. Probably go Master Vox and then Medic now. I'd probably go Master Vox and Medic. What is first rank fire, second rank fire again? +1 shot on every single rapid fire weapon. Not just so that would mean if you went down that route. Bear in mind, I think the Master Vox guy only has a hotshot las pistol, so you might not want to. He's not going to count all that much. But I'm pretty certain the flag guy gets a hotshot rifle, or the medic gets a hotshot rifle. So the point is you would have in total 18 shots from the hotshot rifles, plus 3 hotshot volley guns firing 5 shots each. That's another 15. So that's 33 shots. Plus the hotshot pistol. 34 hotshot shots. 11 plasma shots from one squad. And then if you were firing... And then you'd have 2 other squads that you could order. Oh, with sustained hits. With 4 rerolls to hit. With +1 to wound. It's very spicy. So yeah, you basically always go for first rank fire, second rank fire. Especially if anything's on an objective. If something's not on objective, you might want to go for... if something's not an objective, you might want to go for take aim. So you hit on 2 rolling 1s. But my suspicion is you're still going to want to go first rank fire, second rank fire. So this is just amazing because you basically, what you're going to do is take 1 Scion Giga Blob and then deep strike it. Remember, the Master Vox gives you a 24-inch range, and then deep strike 2 other units within 24 inches of the Scion Giga Blob, who are also then going to receive first rank fire, second rank fire. It's really good. It's just very strong. It's just very fucking strong. Yeah, buffs on buffs on buffs. Yeah. So this is a no-brainer. This is an auto-include in every single list. In every single list in this detachment. Then we've got the priority drop beacon. Militarum Defensive Officer model only. The bear's unit can be set up using the deep strike ability in the reinforcement of your first second or third movement phase, regardless of any mission rules. That's also an auto include. Oh man. Oh man. Turn 1 deep strike with a Scion Gigablob. Oh man. I mean, that's just obviously good. There's a reason it's 30 point. Lock them in the deployment zone. 15 guys with a little triangle of guys with 3 guys on each end. Gives you 9 models spread out. You could really lock someone in the deployment zone. The turn 1 tactical nuke potential is strong, but it's stronger as the ultimate mind game. Yeah, I mean, I think it's the turn 1 tactical nuke so this is useful. Let me explain why it is useful. There's 3 different ways why it's useful. The first way is I'm going to go in there and fuck you up turn 1. Turn 1, I am going to fuck you up. If you are an army which doesn't have particularly good screening, and I can fucking get within 6 inches of a unit on an objective, which very well may be something you've infiltrated, or very well may be something that I can get onto your home objective. I say 6 inches because you'll see later on. But this is good because it allows you to just, if there is an opportunity to do so, you don't have to take it, but there's an opportunity to do so, it allows you to deep strike turn 1 and start fucking people up. Option number 2. It's very good at move blocking people. Turn 1. You get turn 1. You just deep strike in. Again, 6 inches away from people. With the stratagem that we're looking at later on. And now you move block. Now you're not getting... Now the significant portion of your enemy's army which might not be able to get onto objectives in the middle of the board. That's just... Yeah, I will happily throw away 220 points, which is what this will cost, to basically fucking move block you for an entire turn. No turn 2 primary for you? Okay. That's fucking fine. That's fucking fine. No problem. And option number 3, why it's really good, is if someone tries to block you. Because remember, if you put 1,000 points of your army, if you do 1,000 points of your army in reserve, then you might not have a lot of, like, if you're facing against someone who's really fucking fast, they might try and turn 1, get halfway across the board, turn 2, pin you in deployment zone. This allows you to go, no, turn 1, I'm bringing some, you've come halfway across the board and now I'm going to move block you with this, or I'm going to come behind you, or I'm just going to make it so you just can't just fuck with me as much. Yeah. So it's, again, it's really, it's very, 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 very flexible. Mad Larkin, you can do a Gigablob turn 1 if you go second for 1 CP. Is that with the Valkyrie thing? I'd have to look into that in a moment. But yeah, it's priority drop beacons very, 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 very good. Again, it's an auto include. It's an absolute bloody auto include every single time. Never leave home without it. Never leave home without it. Now we have the next 2. The next 2 is gonna be, I'm not sure. The next 2, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and chat, you may want to disagree with me here, and if so, please say why you think I'm wrong down in chat, because I'm always happy. I have an open mind. I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to listen. But I don't think either one of these are auto-include. However, I think both are very strong. So, Shroud Projector means for 15 points that they can't fire Overwatch at you. I mean, that's good because there have been times. There's been sort of once or twice in every single tournament when I've run my Pure Scions when I've wanted to go somewhere and my opponent's like, I'm going to Overwatch you. It's like, so that allows you to stop the pisser. And it is very good. And for 15 points, it definitely shouldn't be overlooked. The other one is Advanced Augury, infantry officer model only. So that doesn't need to be Tempestus. That can be anyone. So this is budget Lord Solar here. After both players have deployed their army, select the 3 regiment units from your army and redeploy them. When doing so, you can set these units up in strategic reserves, regardless of how many units were already in strategic reserves. So, the thing is, Advanced Augury allows you to get more than 1,000 points into reserve. The problem is that because it is done before it's done after the armies are deployed, but before the game has started, it doesn't allow you to get like 3 units into turn 1 deep strike. So for any of you who are thinking that would be a good plan, it doesn't work like that. Secondly, it's good, but if you're starting, you could very easily find yourself starting with like 670 points worth of models on the board. Now that's a very, very small amount of models. Bear in mind that you have to do this before you know if you're going to have first turn or not. If you knew you were going to have first turn or not, this would be amazing. If you could be like, okay, I know I've got first turn, so I only have to hang around for like 1 turn, just hide for 1 turn, then I'm good. But because you don't know, you've got to basically pick the units up and then go, I fucking know I get first turn. And I think it's, if you have 670 points on the board and 13,000 plus points in reserve, then there really is a chance you're going to be somewhat screened. You're going to be somewhat screened. I don't know. It's very high risk. 2 turns. That you got to understand. That what you have to understand, guys, is it means you potentially aren't getting primary till turn 4, because turn 1 you don't get any primary. Turn 2 you bring in all of this deep striking stuff. All of it. So you go fucking mass deep strike, right? But you're not on the objectives, because what's likely happened is your opponent has moved everything they've got onto the objectives. So even if you then clear all those objectives in your turn 2, beginning of your turn 3, you're not on those objectives. So then you have to move on to those objectives. Bear in mind there's a good chance you'll be 9 inches away from the objectives, depending on how well your opponent screened you out. So best case scenario, you can walk on there. What's likely to happen is you're moving advancing onto there, which with the Quillans, with assault and stuff, fine. But then it means you're not getting primary till turn 4, turn 5. And that's assuming your opponent moved up to the objectives and not past the objectives. You see what I mean? Everyone's saying go mass fucking deep strike. I think, as someone who does a lot of deep striking, I'm not sure if I feel that. But good point. Very, very good point made by WTTNC Frep here. If you're going to do that sort of nonsense, you're aiming for secret missions. That's a good point. But secret missions is what, 20 primary? Is that right? Is it 20? I feel like most secret missions are 20 primary, right? So you're still getting a maximum of 80 primary in the game. 80 victory points in the game. If you max everything out, you get 80. Yeah, even with secret mission, I'm still not convinced. That's the way you want to go. That's why I'm very iffy about advanced augury. It's something thematically about science secret missions, at least. That's true. But yeah, that's why I'm very iffy on advanced augury. And that's why I'm thinking the way you actually want, if you're going to take advanced augury, it's because you're using it. And remember, it's only regiment units from your army. So you might be using it with Kazakin. So you can basically deploy your Kazakin out. And then between advanced augury and their scout move, you've got ways of basically, if it looks like they're booked at the deployment or the opponent's heavily counter deployed or something, you can rearrange it, or you can bait and switch. Yeah. Catharsis Chaser, turn 2 Alpha Strike is what this detachment excels at. If you aren't massive striking, you're relying on a bunch of Torx Prime surviving to disembark. See, this is where I think you need the Torx Primes. But I think the key with this is staging. I think you need to stage your Torx Primes. So yeah, advanced augury is for if you're going transports and you false flank. See, I would agree, but you can't because it's regiment only. So yeah, I thought the same thing, but it's regiment only. So you can't put your guys in Torx Primes and then redeploy the Torx Primes because the Torx Primes or Chimeras or whatever it is don't have regiment. You could do it with Scout Sentinels. I'm just saying, you could do it with Scout Sentinels, which bring their own reroll ones in built, or Armor Sentinels, to be fair. You could, for 15 points, redeploy 3 units of Scout Sentinel. Can't do it on Ogryns. I think, honestly, it's for 3 units of Kazakin. I think it's for 3 units of Kazakin. I think that if you're going to use Advanced Augury, this is how I think you do it. You take a Creed command blob, so Creed, Platoon Command, and Infantry Squad, and then you give the Platoon Commander Advanced Augury, and then you redeploy the 3 Kazakin squads somewhere, scout move them forward, and then you've got 3 orders from that command blob to order all 3 Kazakin squads. And remember, they can double up on orders, so you can have like move, and you can have like take aim on all 3 of those units, so that they've got reroll 1s inbuilt. This here, Advanced Augury, this here, I feel this is the justification. This plus this is what they're referring to with this Cadian Kazakin. That's what I think it's for. Do you want to run Kazakin in this attachment? This is the way you fucking do it. Scout moving, redeploying, double ordering fucking Kazakin. That's the way I think you run it. That's just my hot take. Hot take. That's how I think you get it to work. This is the one that a lot of people are very excited about. Bellicosa Drop. Bellicosa Drop protocols require intensive additional training, but enable elite Imperial soldiery to land virtually on top of the enemy's positions. 1 CP, 1 Astra Militarum infantry unit from your army that is in reserves and has a deep strike ability. Okay, now I don't mean to be like rude here, but there's only fucking one of them. It's fucking Scions. Because the effect is you can deep strike 6 inches away from the enemy, but you can't charge. So basically, you can turn 1 Scion Gigablob into an Aquilon Gigablob, essentially. This one's really good. It's good for the turn 1. This pairs very nicely with this, because often your opponent is going to have tried to use like L-shaped ruins and stuff to try and have like blocked your angles and make your angles a bit harder. But if you can come in 6 inches away, you can pretty much get the angles that you want. Pretty much, not always, but pretty much get the angles that you want. So that's really good there. And also, it's just generally good for getting angles. This is pseudo deep. This is pseudo indirect fire to the max. It's just hard to turn this one down, really, isn't it? You have to have deep strike though. You can't. For all of you thinking, I'll take 6 Ogryns and put them in reserve. Sadly, the Ogryns don't have deep strike. Yeah. And like, it looks great, but not in metal range, not able to charge. If the enemy is on the objective, you also can't get on it. It's high situational. It's literally for getting an angle that your opponent has tried to stop you from getting using funky terrain. I can see myself using it every single game just to get the angle that I want to get. Because it's one of the problems that Aquilons have is they can get the angle, but they don't really have the damage out. But +1 to wound, of course, and the reroll 1s, of course, will help. But they don't really have the damage out. But what we're looking at, like a double firing fucking flamer, 1 plasma gun, and a bunch of rifles. This is for making a unit of Scions really good. The other way of you taking a Gigablob Scions and getting the angles. The other way of looking at this, which I haven't seen anyone talking about, and I'll be honest, it's only just popped into my brain, is a 5-man Scion squad deep striking 6 inches away is going to be very hard for your opponent. On 25mm bases, is going to be very hard for your opponent to screen out. Now, if you might only have 1 5-man Scion squad for this exact purpose, right? But the point is that it's an option. You can build into it. 10 Aquilons on 28mm bases, deep striking 6 inches away, is actually probably fairly easy for your opponent to screen out. 5 Scions, 25mm bases, I think that's a whole different kettle of fish. I think that's nearly unscreenable. Nearly. I mean, I don't know the maths on it. Someone would have to do the maths for me. I am of the stupid brain. Ready to serve. But, Derek, Scions are still 25mm, Aquilons are 28mm. 28.5, whatever it is. But yeah, I think the point is that you deep strike down with the 5-man Scions. It's good for doing secondaries. Because you're going to want to have a cheap unit to do secondaries. You're really, really going to want that. And the best unit for doing that is going to be 5-man Scion unit. So it's good. It's good, but you have to build into it a little bit, or it's going to come up. It's probably going to. I think it'll come up every tournament. Once every tournament, you're gonna find that very, very helpful, and maybe more than once. The next one, oh baby, this makes my PP hard. But it makes my PP fire hot. At the risk, this is firing hot. At the risk of permanently burning out power packs, hotshot weaponry can be temporarily overcharged to provide additional punch at the crucial moment. When your shooting phase, target 1 Militarum Tempestus or Kazakin unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot this phase. Until the end of the phase, improve the strength, that's big, and armor penetration characteristics of hotshot las carbines, hotshot las guns, hotshot las pistols, hotshot marksman rifles, hotshot volley guns, and sentry hotshot volley guns equipped by models in your unit by 1. The AP is nice. It's very nice. It's very nice. Okay? It's not underestimated, it's very nice. But somehow I feel like it's the strength which might be the hidden gem of this. Hotshot volley guns going up to strength 5 means that they are going to wound anything strength 9 and below on 5s. But now that you're rather than 7 and below. Now strength 9 that includes vehicles. Plenty of vehicles. Specifically, it includes pretty much every Eldar vehicle and a surprising number of Tal vehicles. I mean, bear in mind, the Riptide's only like T9 or something, T8 or T9 or something bonkers, right? Something weird, right? And then you've got the fact that you've got your strength 5 wounding Marines now on 2s. Oh, all those bolter intercessors are going to be... They're gone. They're gone. They're not coming back. They're all dead. The one fucking reason for Marines ever to bring intercessors just got fucking deleted out the fucking door. Okay? Like, it's just gone. Alright? Hotshot lasguns in general go from 5 to on 3s. Great point, Madlark. We've agreed 3 times in a row now. Now we have to fuck. You know the new detachment where everyone is like, oh, for Grey Knights, everyone's like, oh, I'm gonna take loads of fucking Dread Knights. It's like, good for you. I'm winning you on 4s. AP2. Ignore cover, as you'll see later on. If you've got the CP, you probably will do because you're not going to spend any fucking CP turn 1. That's not true. You might do, but anyway. Would take Cotiers, gets you a cheap way of getting CP. I'm the top. and the power bottom. Alright. On my position is the best one. After screen is Mord. Yeah. Let's skip ahead a little bit to on my position, which is the absolute meme stratagem. It's absolute meme stratagem. So for 1 CP, you do it at the end of your opponent's fight phase. 1 regiment infantry unit from your army that is within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units. It's very, very good, but not really for what it's meant to be for. Okay? The fact that it hits the enemy on a 2+, but is guaranteed to hit your unit, because you could just roll a 1. You could just roll a 1. And then the fact that your unit takes a minimum of 3 mortal wounds, an average of 6 mortal wounds, and a maximum of 9 mortal wounds. You take an average of 6 mortal wounds, the enemy on average takes 3 to 4 mortal wounds. Like, I'm telling you right now, if it was the other way around, this stratagem would be amazing. You take D6 mortal wounds, and the enemy suffers 3d3 mortal wounds. That's amazing. You could have it 3d3, cap it at fucking 6 if you want. Like, I don't mind GW, alright? Make it so that the average you should be fine, but, you know, if it spikes, you can't spike too much, alright? It's all enemy units though. Yeah, but dude, it's all enemy units that are still in engagement range after the opponent's fight phase. Typically, your opponent's only going to charge you with one anyway, because it only takes one unit to really clear away, one of any decent meta unit to clear away a guard unit. And even if they don't clear away, there's typically so few survivors left over that there's only going to be one unit left in engagement range with you. Does that mean that this stratagem is absolutely trash and you should forget about it? No. This stratagem does have a use, which is if your opponent gets into combat with you with something that can stop you from falling back. There are multiple sources of that in 40k, like Black Templars, for example. They can stop you from falling back. Or they wrap and trap you, and you end up going to have to take a desperate breakout anyway. So you might as well try and take some of them out as well. It saves you from not being able to fall back. It saves you from being essentially being wrapped and trapped, essentially. It's very, very, very situational. And the worst thing about it is compare it to grenades. Compare it to grenades, guys. It should have been the other way around. It should have been 1 CP, you take D6 mortal wounds, your opponent takes 3D3 mortal wounds to a maximum of 6. To basically stop it from spiking, but to give it a nice average amount of mortal wounds. With the trade-off being, if you grenade someone, the average is 3, but you don't take any damage. And with this one, the trade-off being, the average is 6. That's double of grenades. But you are also going to take, 3, on average, 3 to 4 mortal wounds. So, yeah. It's if you keep the Vox caster, you can make it free. Yeah, on a 5-up, it might be free. Yeah, this is laughably bad. I absolutely agree. This is laughably bad, but it's not completely unusable. Is it completely unusable? No. Is it going to help you out in one or two other ways? Yeah. Are you ever really going to use it? Probably not. It's bad. It's bad, and it's bad, and it's annoying because it's very easy to fix, because you can just make it so it doesn't do too many mortal wounds to the enemy. And the reason why it's the same amount of CP as grenades is even though it does more mortals to the enemy, you're also taking the mortals. That's how it should be. Because every time you use a stratagem, you're going to roll a 1 and then suffer 9 mortal wounds. So also, if it's the way around, it would have to be 2 CP. I don't agree with having 2 CP because you're going to be spending a CP on it. That's an investment. Guaranteeing D6 mortal wounds to yourself and doing 3D3 mortal wounds to the enemy on a 2+. So there's another barrier there. And then you're capping it out with only being able to do a maximum of 6. Can't use it on Sentinel, sadly, Derek, because they're not infantry. Seriade, at One and Glory, it's the end of the fight phase, so in theory you could consolidate into multiple things. In theory, you could consolidate into multiple things. In reality, you're very unlikely. So you have to think about when you're going to want to use this. And the reality is, when you're going to want to use this is when you've got a handful of survivors left over. You do not want to use this if you've got a basically intact... Because, yeah, absolutely, Seriade, you know what, Seriade, you're absolutely right. You know what you could do? The enemy could overrun into one of your units. Consolidate into one of your units. And then they're technically in engagement range with one of your fresh units. Even though, let's say they fight one unit, kill it, overrun into the next unit. Okay? Brilliant. Now you can trigger this. And your fresh squad of Scions can take 6 mortal wounds, whilst you then fucking do, at best, average case scenario, you do 3 to the enemy. If you've only got a couple of models left, you're probably still going to struggle to get into range of multiple units. But it is a good point, Seriade. If you've got like 3 or 4 models left, might be worth doing. Maybe, if you can tag multiple units. But the reality is that it's just so unfathomably situational, and it's such a shame because it could have been good. It could have been good. I think if it was the other way round, guaranteed to go off, and didn't have a cap on it, so it could do 9 mortal wounds essentially, I would absolutely pay 2 CP for that. No doubt in my mind. Absolutely. And I'd use it with great gusto. Because it's like, yeah, that would be great. Sword with a Mordian, even if you're at full strength, if you're a melee, you can't fall back and shoot. Stay a melee, you're dead. Kill yourself out of combat, then shoot next turn. So what you're saying, Swordsmith, is that if someone overruns into me, I could use fire on my position, on my fresh squad, obliterate it, but then I wouldn't be in combat. It's a bold strategy. Because in theory, if the enemy tags one of my units and I roll this, in theory, I do 6. On average, I do 6 mortal wounds to myself. That will leave me with 4 guys left. That will leave me all of my special weapons, which can then now fire. It's a bold strategy, Swords. It's a bold strategy. The problem is that it might leave me with 1 special weapon if it goes wrong. Assuming none of that gets tagged. You'd have to... You could do it with a unit of Kriegers, though. The best target for this is a unit of Kriegers, because you could take your mortal wounds and then have your 5-up feel no pain, and then regrow them in your turn. That's it. This is designed to be used with Deathcore of Krieg, who are going to be hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s. You fucking splat the shit out of your guys. And, yeah. That's how you do it, yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's the detachment right there. That's the play right there. Unit of 20. So what you do is you take a unit of 20 Kriegers with a Deathcore Marshal. The enemy unit tags you up. Now, depending on how many of you they tag up, you might choose to use your Feel No Pain or not. Because if they're like, oh shit, man, they've like tagged like 4 or 5 guys, riflemen at the front, I'm going to need to make sure I don't lose to... I'm going to make sure that I don't take my Feel No Pain and then end up still in combat, right? So you're like, the Deathcore Marshal like, no medical assistance for those men. Those just 5 to 9 guys just get obliterated. And then you're like, okay, then we can go. But if they literally just like consolidate in and just like touch 1 guy, you could be like, okay, on my position, bang, I take 6 more wounds. I pass 2 of them. I lose 4 guys. On average, I regrow 2 more. I took 2 casualties. On average, I took 2 casualties. You could lose 9 guys, but then you should pass 3, so you lose 6, which is still only riflemen. Then you could regrow 1. So yeah, I mean, worst case scenario, you lose 8 Krieg riflemen. I'd take that deal. You take that deal? I'd take that deal. Damn right. Damn good deal. So you take, in this whole detachment, you take 1 Krieg squad. And hey, who knows what this would be like on a unit of the new Krieg Engineers. We don't know what they do yet. Krieg Engineers might be sneakily really good with this. I'll have to find out, I suppose. You can also make it free with a Voxcaster. That's true, Marco, but then you'd have to take a Voxcaster over a plasma gun, and not in my army. Now we've got 3 more stratagems to look at, and then we're gonna 3 more stratagems. We've got fire and relocate. Your shooting phase, 1 Astra Militarum unit, excluding Titanic units. Bane Blades just can't catch a fucking break, can they? From your army. Until the end of the phase, your unit is able to shoot at a turn in which it advanced. Now, it's very important to understand that this is 1 Astra Militarum unit. Not regiment. Not infantry. Unit. So it is entirely possible for you to take a tank commander and move and advance him and shoot. I feel like that might get changed, but for now, it absolutely works. And tank commanders are a great choice for it. Another great choice is a staged unit. If you think about it, having a unit of scions like inside a transport, get out 3, move 6, advance, and shoot is actually really powerful. I like it. It's entirely possible to take a Baneblade, advance, and shoot. Why? It says excluding Titanic. Are we about to have our first lovers tiff and disagree on something? Martial drive-bys. Yeah, I mean, that's it, Zekcho. Exactly, the martial drive-by. You don't want to get that close with your tanks, though. The only reason you might want to get that close is with multi-melters, but it's a reason you might take some tank commanders. I think, I feel like you take a unit of scions, jump them out of a Taurox, advance them, shoot them, have a good time. That's where I think this is. But you can do it on other. Sentinels could benefit from it. Hellhounds could benefit from it. But my limited imagination is telling me it'll probably get nerfed down to just fucking regiment, and it'll probably end up just affecting. It is very good on. It's good. It's really good on the Demolisher though, because it gets the Demolisher. And between this, you can move. You can move with advance, plus your Demolisher cannon. We got to remember your Demolisher's not going to have lethal hits. And it's going to get hit on 4s in that scenario. So, and it's still going to cost you a CP. I think this one, I don't know, man. Movement wins games and all that. But I feel like there's so many others you're probably going to use instead. I don't know. I need chat. You need to convince me to make me think this one is good. Right now, I think it's decent. Servo designators. Your shooting phase just after an Astra Militarum infantry unit from is shot. That Astra Militarum infantry unit. Select one unit that hit by one or more of those attacks that is visible to your unit until the end of the phase. That enemy unit cannot have the benefit of cover. That's pretty decent. This actually feels really good for having supporting Aquilans. So if you've got a unit of infantry that can, if you've got a Gigablob that drops down and you've got like some Aquilans as well, and you know the Aquilans don't do as much damage, then they can drop down, fire first. They're still got a +1 to wound, do a bit of damage, and then you go bang, 1 CP, ignore cover. But everything else shooting it. I guess the problem is though, and the reason you would do that is because this only affects your hotshot stuff. So this affects all of your weapons, like and affects other units later on as well. Yeah, this one's quite good. Removing cover is always a bonus, and if the enemy hasn't got invulnerable saves, it's very helpful. Very helpful. And especially with Armor of Contempt now, basically only lasting for like one interaction. So they put Armor of Contempt on for, let's say, the Aquilans shooting, and then they can't get it from the Sand Gigablob shooting. You know what I mean? Yeah. 5-man Scion team to do servo, and then artillery tag it. That's another good way of doing it. 5-man Scions dropping down, giving them the fucking beans, then start hitting them with the fobs. That could do it as well. That could do it as well. It's solid. It's okay. What I like about it is there are multiple ways in which you can leverage it. You can leverage it with your artillery. You can leverage it with your Aquilans. You can leverage it with just some spare fucking random unit you've got around. Just give that a little tickle. Do you know what I mean? So it's relatively easy to either plan around it or just stumble across it, and it's good accidentally. And then last but not least, someone said for fire and relocate, Kazakin would be a good choice. That has actually convinced me this is decent. Very good Hiro Rukuni. Kazakin, don't want scout, with move, with advance and shoot. That's actually really good. So yeah, actually, if you have Kazakin in your army, this is really good. Alright, we have the last stratagem here, which everyone is saying is absolutely awful. And at the beginning of the stream, I thought was absolutely awful. But I think it might actually be quite good. Okay. So 1 CP. End your opponent's fight phase. One Valkyrie unit from your army that is not within engagement range of one or more enemy units. Or one Astra Militarum unit from your army that has the deep strike ability and is not within engagement range of one or more enemy units. Hang on, Hang on! I think I've completely misread this. 1 minute. 1 minute, chat. 1 minute. I'm going to read this again. Carefully. One Valkyrie unit from your army that is not within engagement range of one or more enemy units. Or one Astra Militarum unit from your army that has the deep strike ability is not within engagement range of one or more enemy units. Oh, I thought you don't need the Valkyrie. I thought you needed the Valkyrie. I thought the Valkyrie had to be nearby. Oh, it's so good. That's so strong. Ah. Oh, man. I fully misread that. That's like the best strategy in the whole fucking index. Index science. Hashtag index science, guys. Remember? Hashtag index science. Woohoo, baby. Oh, baby. Aerial extraction all over my face. Jeez. That's so good. I misread it, Mad Larkin. I misread it. Okay. Lambast me, but forgive me. Okay. Mad Larkin, I've been listening to you a lot this stream. I've been listening to you a lot. I just misread this one. This is really good. This is really strong. Uppy Downy. We love a bit of Uppy Downy. That's phenomenally evil, that. I think that has merit for putting Aquilans on the board turn 1. Because, not all your Aquilans, but there's definitely an argument to be said. So, there's definitely an argument to be said for... Because Aquilans can go inside... Torx Primes. A lot of people don't realise that, and I could be wrong, but I think... Well, let's just double check, okay? Let's just double check. So... Before we start talking shit, right? Military defensive infantry, yeah. So they can do. Right, so Aquilans, you could have the reason why I think there's an argument for Aquilans starting on the board is because they have advance and shoot. So the idea of having Aquilans inside Torx Primes actually feels quite cool because it means the Aquilans can move out of the transport and advance. And then the Torx can shoot, which will give them rerolls to wound. And then you can order them. You know, there's plenty of ways for you to order them. So they can then they can be hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s with 4 rerolls to wound. So there's kind of like an argument to be made that that actually kind of worked quite well. And just for the fact that they can move around the board quite quickly, and they don't really have the firepower to super benefit from like deep striking down. And what the fuck are they going to do? Do you know what I mean? I feel like Aquilans. It sounds crazy, but I feel like Aquilans are actually genuinely better starting on the board because they move and advance out, and they start taking objectives early on. So I actually quite like that. So I like the idea of Aquilans, you know, moving out, taking the fight to the enemy, or taking the objectives early on. Maybe benefit from Torx Primes if they need to, and then they can be brought up. Because imagine, you know, if you've got an Aquilon unit, turn 1, let's say you get extend battle lines, or you could have an Aquilon unit jump out of a Taurox 3 inches. Move and advance another average of 9-10 inches. That's an average of 12-inch movement. And get onto objective. That's before you even take into account move, which you absolutely can get on them fairly easily. Either Gaunt Scope Suit tracking down, or from an officer getting out of a Chimera or something like that. But typically, I think you look at Gaunt Scope Suit tracking down. So, but let's say even then you get like 12-inch move, you can get onto the objective. And they don't mind advancing either because they've got assault weapons, right? So they maybe they get behind they get on an objective that's behind a ruin. You can do that fairly easily on like UKTC or WTC. The opponent then moves out to, do their thing. And then for 1 CP, you're just like, well, I'm just going to pick these guys up because they're, you think about it, right? You're like, okay, it looks like my opponent's going to like fuck these Aquilans up, or they've done extend battle lines or whatever it might be. So I'm just going to fucking pick them up. I'm not going to sit around. And then they can come back down, in a later turn, or you can rapid ingress them or something. See what I mean? There's just some. I'm not explaining it 100% greatly, but you sort of get the vibe that I'm going for. So yeah, I think aerial extraction does actually quite well with the Aquilans, but I think honestly that's kind of like big brain. That's like That's like wrinkly brain. I think realistically, the best way you use this is you deep strike down. You fuck something up with a Scion Gigablob. You basically clear the area of like of a threat, and then you pick the Scion Gigablob up and you do it again and again and again and again. Honestly, I think you could dump 5 CP into this so easy. Yeah, I mean overall, this is just really, really, really strong. 2 units turn 1 deep striking. Or even just 1 unit. What I was getting pretty hard 1 unit turn 1 deep striking, 2 units turn 1 deep striking. Oh my. Oh my. So, chat, I guess the big question is, and I do have some super chats to catch up on in a moment. What do we rate this detachment? I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. Maybe 8.5. If the Admech detachment is a 9... Well, no, I suppose the Admech detachment's a 10 out of 10, isn't it? And the Necron detachment is like an 11 out of 10. So, let's compare this. Like, could this beat the Death Guard one? Yeah. I think this could beat the Death Guard one. I think this could beat the Dark Angel one. I think it's better than the ones we gave a 7 out of 10. It's not quite on the same level. I don't think it's quite on the same level as the Admech or the Necron one. But I think it's not far off. I'm going 8.5. It's me, Marco. 3.7 doesn't include Grenadiers at automatic -4 points. Marco, it does reference Grenadiers. It says, or equivalent specialist companies like the Cadian Kazakin. Not only the Cadian Kazakin. So, I think that does include Grenadiers. So, Grenadiers backhanded mentioned, I think you've got to add at least 3 points on. You can keep the -1 because it doesn't explicitly state them. Oh, man. 9 out of 10 for Scion players, 6 out of 10 for players that don't have a lot of Scions. Agreed, Lord of Shovels. Yeah. If you are a Scion player, you're feeling very happy right now. I think that this attachment is equal to the... do you know what I think this attachment does? I think the attachment puts pure Scion armies on the same power level as regular Guard armies. Maybe slightly lower. Maybe like because regular Guard is good, but regular Guard's had a few points hits, but not to, I guess, Chimeras and stuff. Yeah, no, I think pure Scions built properly with good experience could be equal in power, or equal or nearly equal in power to Guard. Yeah. Basically, like I said, this is not a Guard detachment. This is Index Scions. And Scions players, you've just had your Index, and it's looking pretty good. The only problem is that all the regular Guard players are having to pay for your Scions being better than their Scions, and yet they don't get the benefit. There you go. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full-time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Alex Dengal, Bon Vert, Lord Pryor, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, Try Again Bragg, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Barney. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.